So it's been a pretty slow week the past week for like price action on Bitcoin and Solana. Honestly, like the last month or so has been really slow. We've just been chopping around between like 65,000, between like 63 and 70,000 on Bitcoin. Solana is more volatile, but it's just been moving sideways too. So there hasn't been a ton of new stuff on the Twitter timeline for me to research, but I figured I would talk about other ways to make yield on your Solana because a few days ago I made the video about Lulo, where I explained basically how to create a crypto savings account and earn the best yield lending your Solana. So in this video, I'm going to be focusing more on how to earn a yield off of leverage traders on Solana, because obviously there's a ton of fees generated from people that leverage trade. I'm going to explain in the video why it's very lucrative and why I think most people should have a part of their portfolio farming this. But anyways, let's get into it. But first, I wanted to just talk about the different ways that you can earn yield in DeFi. There's multiple different ways, and I think farming leverage traders is one of the best. So typically, you have staking, right? Staking is where you're delegating your Solana to a validator to help secure the network. So the revenue is generated from the chain's transaction fees every time the Solana swap. Part of that goes to the validators and the people who delegated their SOL to those validators, providing liquidity. You're providing typically two different pairs, like SOL to USDC. So you're giving that extra liquidity to the market. So there's better experience, better prices for traders, and you get the revenue from that is generated from token swap. So every time somebody swaps between those pairs that you're providing liquidity for, you earn money from those transaction fees. And then the last one is lending, right? So you're providing liquidity for borrowers. Whoever wants to, for whatever reason, somebody wants to borrow some crypto and use another bit of their crypto as collateral. They pay the lenders. So the revenue that you make lending is generated from the user's borrowing and whatever the borrow APR is at that set time. It's obvious the most sustainable ways to earn yield is by actually contributing to the markets. All three of these things are very vital for there to be DeFi and for there to be markets like this. So I think anytime you're doing something like this where you're actually contributing to like how sophisticated and how good a chain can be, that's when you're going to make sustainable good yields. That's what you want to look for. So another great way to earn yield is by providing liquidity to leverage traders, right? So you're already kind of doing this when you're lending and you have people borrowing against you, because basically that's what leverage is, right? It's when you borrow against your original position and then you use that money you borrowed to bet more, right? So it's like if you're lending Solana, borrowing dollars against it, and then using those dollars to buy more Solana. That's basically what leverage is, but obviously it's not very convenient. If you want to make a 10x leverage trade, it's going to be very hard, nearly impossible to just continuously loop, like lend, borrow, and lend more, borrow more. It's very inconvenient. Nobody wants to do that. So that's where leverage trading comes in. There's multiple different, derivative protocols on Solana. We're going to get into that in a second. Before I actually talk about how we're going to earn the yield off of this and why it's so, before we actually get into how we're going to be earning the yield off of this, before we actually get into how we're earning yield off the leverage traders, my philosophy around it, the big reason why I think it's so lucrative is because of how many traders actually lose money leverage trading, right? You can see the statistic from Binance. I've heard even higher numbers than this, but according to statistics, 90% of traders, right? Not investors, keep in mind, traders lose money in the long run. So seeing a statistic like that, if 90% of them lose, how can we get on the other end of that, right? How can we make money off of these guys losing? Because there's always going to be someone on the other end of the market. So how can we position ourselves there? And there's a few different protocols that have perps, futures, leverage trading that allow you to do this by providing liquidity. So if we check out DeFi Llama, this is all the derivatives protocols on Solana. You can see number one is Jupiter Perps. There's only a few of these that you can actually earn money on, like we're speaking about. Jupiter, Drift, and FlashTrade. There's a few other ones like Zeta, which you can only get access to by like privately DMing the Zeta team, which is kind of odd. I assume you just have to have a lot of money to do something like that, so it's not open to the public. Yeah, Jupiter is the number one on Solana. Jupiter is the number one perp trading platform on Solana, and it's the number 3 across any chain in DeFi, so it's definitely got a ton of volume. Yeah, so the Jupiter Perps trading platform, you can use up to 100x leverage. I've never actually traded on here before, but again, it's the number one. I know a ton of people who do. So if you go here, it says perpetual trading, and you just go to the side, it says degen and earn. This is where you're going to click, and this is where you'll be able to get into the JLP pool. So you can see the JLP token is actually an index fund, like you know how US 30 is an index fund. It represents the top 30 stocks in the US stock market. The JLP token represents an index fund of Sol, ETH, Bitcoin, USDC, and USDT. So when you're holding the JLP token, it's a representation of you holding all of these assets just in this Jupiter liquidity pool. And then on top of that, while you're holding it right now, they're giving a 80% APY. So that 80% comes from the generated fees from opening, closing, and the borrowing fees that these traders incur when they're trading on the Perp, Jupiter's Perp DEX. And then of course, these assets appreciate, your JLP is going to be worth more over time as well. So you can see right now about 44% of the pool is in Solana, and then 65% of it is Solana, ETH, wrapped Bitcoin, and then the rest of it, majority is USDC, and then a bit of USDT. So you're still holding 65% of this is still exposed to the actual price fluctuation of the top big three cryptos, and then you have obviously the fees that you'll be generating money off of as well. So if you want to start earning on this, very simple. I'm just going to connect my backpack wallet. Just going to open it up and then pin it to the side here. But yeah, now that I have my backpack wallet connected, I'm just going to go ahead and drop 1 Sol. Actually, I'm just going to drop 0.5 Sol, and then I'll use the other for the other protocol. It says that we have some Oracle staleness right here, something that happens once in a while. So we'll just come back and check after. Let's move on to the next protocol. All right, so the next one we're looking at is FlashTrade. So this one is very similar to Jupiter. They offer 100x leverage. Just like on Jupiter, we're just going to go up to the top here, click earn. And then it works just the same as Jupiter. If you read all this stuff here, they have, instead of the JLP token, they have the FLP token. And instead of 75% of the generated revenue being shared, it's only 70, which isn't that much of a difference, but still something to note. So they have about 55% Sol BTC ETH, and then they have 45% of just USDC, so no USDT. And this is on the one pool. The cool thing about FlashTrade is they actually have 4 separate pools. So this is the FLP1, and you go to pool number 2, and it's just USDC, right, which is very interesting. So you're able to get 29% on just USDC, not too bad. And then we have pool 3, which is offering 69% APY. I forgot to mention the first one is offering 125%. But yeah, pool number 3 offering 69% APY, where it's more like altcoins. So you have Jupe, Pyth, Jito, and W. And then the last one, you're making 119% right now, and it's just USDC and Bonk. So it's 70% Bonk, 30% USDC. So pretty good way to earn that much and still getting some exposure to Bonk. And then the same thing with, you know, the JLP, the FLP, you're actually getting exposure to the tokens while you're holding it on top of getting the generated fees. Yeah, so same thing as Jupiter. We're just going to go ahead and connect our backpack wallet. Yeah, so once you connect your backpack wallet, I just picked Sol instead of USDC. So I'm going to mint 65 FLP tokens. FLP1 tokens, I should be more specific. So FlashTrade is obviously a lot newer than Jupiter, so I was thinking maybe they'll be doing a token drop soon. I was reading their docs. There is no Flash token. They will announce one. Obviously, there's going to be one eventually. They dropped an NFT project not too long ago called the Flash Beasts. So the Flash Beasts are how they initially raised some money for the protocol. And if you're holding one right now, you get trading fee discounts. You can get your own referral code and make money off those referrals if you're doing stuff like this, like making videos like I am. If we go on Tensor and check it out, this is the art. You can let me know what you guys think of it in the comments. But definitely interesting. They're a bit expensive, but if you're bullish on FlashTrade and you use it a lot, I would suggest getting one, especially because when they do a token airdrop, it's probably going to be the best way to farm that. But even though there isn't actually any official announcement of it, I'm sure the more that you use FlashTrade, the more eligibility you'll get for that potential token generation event. So the last one here is kind of like an honorable mention. Drift. I'm sure you guys know about Drift. It's the 5th biggest perp DEX in DeFi, and it's, I think, the 2nd biggest on Solana. The way you can earn money off of trading against leverage traders with their backstop AMM liquidity, or BAL. So this one offers 3 different pools. I'm going to be totally honest, guys. I was reading the docs for this for like a couple days, trying to figure it out. Basically, it just makes a way to, you provide liquidity and you reduce slippage for the leverage traders in a very like concentrated price range. So you have to be very active when doing this. The thing I like about the JLP and the FLP tokens is they're probably the best way to earn close to 100% yield passively. With Drift, it's not so passive. But if you guys want to check it out, look into it, you can read their docs. I'll put it in the description. I'm going to be totally honest, guys. I was reading these docs for a couple days and talking to some guys on Twitter, and it's just too complicated. I'm going to try and do some more research on it and make a video, but I'll put the links in the description if you guys want to check it out yourselves. If you guys want to see more informative and concise DeFi videos just like this one, I try and post at least every week. I was going to do a video every day, but then I realized that they were just turning out crap. There's not that much to talk about every day, so every video I put out will hopefully be quality and informative, something valuable, some valuable information for you guys. But yeah, thank you so much for the support lately. Subscribers are consistently going up. I'm always seeing new people commenting, so it's really awesome. Thank you guys so much. Take care.